Hey fellow YouTubers, GameBro here. I am here to discuss this year's E3. It took a little longer than intended, but here we are. Just like last year's, I will only discuss about the big three. I will not be going into detail about EA's, Ubisoft's, or anyone else who participated. I noticed I focused a lot more on the big end than the rest last year. Hopefully I will have as much to discuss with the other two. Whatever games I skip, it'll be either because I have nothing interesting to state, or I have next to no interest in it. With that said, let us get started. Starting off with Microsoft's conference. It is natural that they start with a Halo game. What can I say? The gameplay footage looked amazing, but there's nothing I can say about it that millions have not stated already. I will gladly continue the story when the game releases. The trailer for Recore looked pretty neat. The game is from Keiji Inafune, the creator of Mega Man, along with the creators of Metroid Prime. It is pretty odd that the latter, given that it is clearly a Nintendo exclusive, was acknowledged at all during this conference. Microsoft stated that the One will start being backwards compatible with Xbox 360 games. That was one thing besides the Wii U that the current gen consoles lacked, and it's about time. Granted, that doesn't mean you'll be able to put any game from the 360 library and enjoy it on a more powerful console. The backwards compatibility has its limits. However, it is clearly a neat thing to have on a console at all. Now, ones will be flying off shelves even more, obviously. They introduced the Xbox Elite controller. It looks quite the revolutionary controller without being too gimmicky. Swappable components, more precise control. It really impressed me. Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare 2. The trailer looked pretty awesome. I expect great things to a sequel of a game that is already a blast to play. I just hope there'll be a lot more modes this time around. That is one thing the prequel was rather lacking in. That game was more worthy of a rental. Rare announced a game collection of 30 whopping games, and for only $30 at that. Hell's friggin' yeah. This game, along with another game with a different conference, is the game I am the most hyped about. Banjo-Kazooie, Jet Force Gemini, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Cameo, Battletoads, and lots of games I would love to play through. Even if this game was $100, it would be well worth the price. Now, Rare, after this game releases, do try to become more relevant in the gaming industry this generation. You have created good games, even once you belong to Microsoft, but nobody talks about them. Surely the sales for this game will have you get back on track. Here's an easy name to remember, Cuphead. I admit, I am kind of a sucker for hand-drawn animation, and the animation here looks so appealing, so good. The gameplay is a Contra-like genre in a 1930s cartoon. Hopefully the gameplay will be as awesome as the graphics are. So they have not acknowledged the Kinect this year, so one would assume that the accessory is dead. However, they did introduce something else that could be viewed as a gimmick, the HoloLens. They made use of it to show off Minecraft in a holographic form, how you'd be able to interact with that particular world with your body. It looks incredible. The conclusion, Microsoft has really impressed me this year. Probably the best conference overall. It is clear that Microsoft has been learning from their mistakes not too long after the launch of the One. You did well, Microsoft. You did well. Let us jump into Sony's conference, No Man's Sky. As I watched the video, it truly reminded me of how video games are still evolving to this day. You fly around in a spaceship, able to visit hundreds upon hundreds of solar systems to visit in the game. The developer even stated that many of them will not ever be visited. If that isn't an exaggeration, then this could put huge games like Skyrim to shame. It was mind-blowing to say the least. Sci-fi fans will be pleased. The world of Final Fantasy. Yep, it is one of those games, full of chibi and whatnot. So Square is trying to reach out to a kiddie audience. Not the worst idea in the world, but I imagine not many Final Fantasy fans will be too excited about this one. The crowd reaction during its showcase was a little on the weak side, after all. I just hope Square knows what they're doing in this case. Here's another Final Fantasy game that many would consider to be a lot more pump-worthy. Final Fantasy VII will be receiving the remake treatment. Out of all the Final Fantasy choices, this is easily one of the best choices of a remake. This game was one of the few Final Fantasies I was really able to get into, and I am pleased this game became a thing. Rejoice, fellow Sega fans! Shenmue 3 is actually happening. This is the one game that really put a smile on my face as I watched the video. I'm extremely pleased that Yu Suzuki finally found a way to continue the series after 14 years of the release of Shenmue 2. Within a single day, it has already reached the goal of $2 million. The creator really shows that he is passionate about creating the absolute best sequel possible, and I admire him for that. What else can I say that many have already stated? As someone who's backed up the game, I can't wait to get my copy within my grasp. This is the other game that I am the most pumped up for. Unfortunately, Sony did not pull what Microsoft did and stated backwards compatibility for the PlayStation 4. With its cell processor, I imagine it would be incredibly challenging, but it is still a bit disappointing. In conclusion, while Sony did not have as many games that have intrigued me as Microsoft did, it was still a pretty good attempt on making me pick up a PlayStation 4. A quality performance. Good job, Sony. I just hope that they will still be relevant within a few years from now, given their situation. Now on to the big end. To start off with, they showed some more Star Fox for the Wii U, now titled Star Fox Zero. I have enjoyed every game in the franchise, and this game is easily one of the more exciting ones this year, with making good use of the gamepad, and that'll use elements from the canceled Star Fox 2. It is bound to be a solid game. Though it isn't a new one per se, I am quite pumped. Surprise, surprise, they have showed off another Zelda game, and it is multiplayer themed. No, it is not Force Swords, but Triforce Heroes. While the puzzle-based gameplay looks pretty enjoyable, the fact that there's a missing link, pun intended, seems kind of like a missed opportunity. This would have been even more exciting, though no less confusing, had Force Swords not existed already. Do not get me wrong, though, it still looks good, and who knows, perhaps a fourth player can still be involved somehow, albeit not another Link. Hyrule Warriors is now coming to the 3DS. I suppose it is neat, just not the most exciting game shown off. Hopefully it'll be worth it to even those who own the Wii U version. Oh boy, did this game receive a lot of hateful comments. Metroid Prime Federation Force does not please the majority of the Metroid fans. My opinions? It looks like a decent game on its own, but yeah, it likely shouldn't have been a Metroid game in the first place. Had the game had a more realistic look, surely people would have been okay with this. I am pretty fine with it, but damn, there were haters. Another Animal Crossing is coming to 3DS. I have not spent a lot of time on an Animal Crossing game since Wild World. The game looks fine, but it doesn't give me enough desire to make me interested in the series once more. At least it is more worth showing than an Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Really? This is their choice of their Wii U Animal Crossing game? Yoshi's Woolly World is an interesting title to say the least. I have played Kirby's Epic Yarn, and I thought it worked well enough as a game. There was an interview with the designer, surrounded by yarn Yoshis. I'd be lying if I said those Yoshis were not adorable, but is this really worthy of being part of E3? Seems more like a video that could have been more fitting as an average eShop video. Mario and Luigi Dream Team. It is a pretty cool idea of a crossover, though I fear this game may not do much for me. Paper Mario Sticker Star has not done a lot for me, and the final Mario and Luigi game I've played, Partners in Time, has done even less for me. Then again, most nowadays Mario spin-off games have not suited my taste. We will just have to wait and see. Mario Maker. I am pleased with how far they have gotten with this game. It is clearly something that everyone who is interested with creating Mario levels would love, with using sprites and backgrounds from multiple games, and with being able to create levels full of mayhem, clearly not possible on 2D consoles. This is currently the Wii U game I am the most pumped for. A little off topic, but watching the Nintendo World Championship, along with this game that took a part of it, was one of the most awesome experiences I've had in a long time. The conclusion, while it had some good stuff, as far as E3 videos go, it was rather disappointing. There was nothing but first and second party support in this vid for one thing, even though the Big N said otherwise prior to this. Some of the games they showed were not worthy of being in an E3 conference. There was also too much focus on the amiibos, and they did so good last year too. Just when I thought Nintendo was capable of bringing back some of the audience that left them, even some Nintendo fanboys thought it was kind of a letdown. Granted, there were a few third-party exclusives shown off at E3 in general, and looked pretty good. But why the company wouldn't show off those games in the digital event is beyond me. One thing I forgot to mention, there was not any mention of the NX. I'm not against that, actually, but then they need to take advantage of that the Wii U is the current console they're trying to fly off shelves. Well, that about does it for this video. Thanks for watching. Feel free to disagree with any of my opinions. Just do not be a bigot about it. With that said, take care, y'all.